Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all yet again another Advice Corner video segment right here on Otakuassemble Weekly. And as always, here to bring you the latest in this week's Advice Corner video segment. Now, before I get started on this video, I want to let you all know I apologize ahead of time if this video comes across a little yellow, and that's just because for you all who have seen the previous two videos this week, video recording, and we just had a thunderstorm roll through, so I've had to use the light in my apartment, and it's very warm, and I'm wearing this yellow shirt. So by the time I'm gonna try to edit this out if I can, you know, do color correction in post, but yeah, so if it's a little yellow, I apologize now. Anywho, but let's go ahead and let's jump on this Advice Corner video, and alright, got another long one. So guys, sit tight while I go through this this message. Alright, let's see. The topic of this message is 19-year-old virgin. Alright, hey, what's up? I need some advice on this topic. Well, that's why I'm here. I'm a 19-year-old male and a virgin. The thing is that I'm not ashamed of being a virgin, nor am I stressed about losing my virginity. This is my problem, because apparently if you're a 19-year-old male virgin and not stressed about losing it, you're either secretly gay or fucking stupid. His words, not mine. I am a regular guy. I go to school, I work on the summers, I go to the gym, and I have nerdy hobbies like video games, movies, anime, and books. Don't we all? I don't go out as often as my friends, but I'm out a fair bit. Birthdays, special occasions, random nights spread out here and there. The thing is that when I go out, my first priority is to get drunk and have fun with my friends, of course. That, however, doesn't mean that I don't ever talk to girls. I do, but it's not the main reason I go out. I consider myself to be fairly good looking, intelligent, funny, and nice, and if I am talking to a girl that I want to potentially go further than what I expect the same from her. If a girl is not up to par in any of these categories, I am most likely getting turned off by her and lose all interest. This leads to my friends pushing ugly, stupid, uninteresting girls on me. I know I must sound like a douche right now, but seriously, that's what they are. And when I refuse to do anything with them, my friends get pissed, because apparently when you push your, okay, I don't think I'm not going to, I get the message. Okay, I get it. Seriously, what's so fucking special about having sex that it negates my rights to standards? And if it is so goddamn special, then why would I settle for someone I am not attracted to? So the way I see it, they are the weird ones, but I am insanely outnumbered in my social circle about feeling this way, so maybe I'm the weird one. That is why I'm asking you, because I trust your opinion. Aww. Side note, it's not like I don't want to have sex. I do. I just don't feel it's a pressing issue that must be dealt with right away. Anyway, I want to do it with a girl that floats my boat. Thanks. Alright. So, finally made it through the message, and now I can hopefully pass on some pretty good advice. Alright. So, here's the gist of the situation, dude. It's not your priority right now. You stated it in the message, and based off of the, the scenarios and the examples you provided, it's not your priority. Clearly, you are not concerned with losing your virginity right now. And here's the thing, believe it or not, there's nothing wrong with that. I know where you are right now at this moment in time in your life. You know, you're 19 years old, you're a young man, you're probably going to college, you got your friends, and of course people your age are going out and screwing. I mean, I don't want to generalize, anybody, and I don't want to, I don't want this to come across as simple-minded or cliche or anything like that, but let's face it, people your age, their entire, almost, but the majority of their whole social experience in social life is centered around sex. That's just the truth of the situation. And you know what? I don't even feel so bad as generalizing it to that, because I've already gone through this shit, and I know from personal experience. When I was 18, 19, all of my friends, all of my guy friends, the majority of them, all they talked about was getting laid. That's the truth. That is the truth. And anyone who says different is a fucking lie. Or maybe they're fortunate enough to not be in that type of social situation. But the fact is, where you are at this moment and time in your life, that is the main juxt of your social circle and everyone else in it, is getting laid. That's the main focus. You just seem to be in the position to where you are not of that number. You are not of that fold right now. It's not your priority. Now, it would be very easy for me to just tell you, don't fucking worry about it. But let's face it, at that age, especially if these are good friends of yours, and God forbid, if some of these people you go to school with, you've known before college, like you know, high school, middle school, maybe even lifelong friends. But the thing is, and this is what I want to say about friends. I don't know if your homeboys mean well, because I have had friends and family members who have made it their goal, their mission, to get me out, meeting more women, things of that nature. And of course, just like in that scenario, from my personal experiences with that type of thing, they mean well by it. I know they mean well. They might come off a certain way, but I know they mean well. They just want me to go out and have a good time and experience some of the things they're experiencing. They want to share that with me. And it could be that some of your homeboys are trying to do the same. Maybe their delivery, how it's coming across to you, might be coming across as obnoxious or irritating or bullying. It can come off that way. We're guys. We're typically pretty fucking blunt when it comes to, you know, when it comes to our friends and whatnot. So it can come off that way. I also understand that at that age, you can succumb very easily to peer pressure, because you're still at that age right now where peer pressure is still an issue for you. Because in all honesty, you won't grow out of that until about the time you're ready to graduate, about 21, 22. That's when you'll start noticing like peer pressure doesn't really bother you, if you're maturing in the manner in which you should. I mean, there's some fucking 35, 40-year-old guys who still succumb to peer pressure, and it's like, God, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Are you still in high school? But if you're maturing at the rate you should be, eventually your peer pressure won't concern you anymore. But as of right now, it is a problem, and it is something to take into consideration. So we're going to keep that in mind. What I would say, though, the first bit of advice I would give you is in regards to your friends. It's addressing your social circle, and just as best you can, without, you know, I would probably cool it on the profanity. I would not come across aggressive or anything like that, but I would say I would try to just, you know, sit my friends down and as best you can explain to them why it's not a priority for you, you know. And if they are good friends, assuming that they are good friends of yours, they'll respect your decision. And you might even find yourself fortunate if not only do they respect your decision, but they respect the fact that you keep to your guns, that you keep to your word, and that you aren't going to compromise just for a one-time fling. The fact that you're standing your ground on something that is very personal to you and that means something to you, they'll respect you for that. Even if it is in spite of them, they will respect you for that, and you'll respect yourself. So that's the first bit of advice I would give. The second bit of advice I would give is in regards to why it's not a priority for you. And yeah, you know, it might be something like you just haven't found the right person yet. Now, yeah, you know, some people, they'll clown you. They'll say, oh man, you acting like a female, like everything gotta be right. But I can tell you from personal experience, it is much more gratifying to have that experience with someone that you want to have it with, rather than just have a fling. It's much more gratifying to have it with someone you want it with. And I would even go as far as to say that if it's the right person, if it's the right time, and everything goes the way you want it to, that is worth waiting for. It is. Because you might be the type to where sex actually means something to you. And if that's the case, then you're going to want that experience to mean something. You're not going to want it to be, just another brick in the wall, just another name in the address book. Well, cell phone, because people don't really use address books now. You don't want it to be just another number in the phone. You don't want it to be that one time. You know what I mean when I say that one time, when you're talking to your buddy, it's like, hey, remember that one time? You probably don't want it to be that one time. So at that point, dude, I would say just be patient and just wait for it to happen. However, and this is the huge however, and this is probably the most important thing I'll tell you. You can settle this with your friends so that you're all on the same page. And you can even decide to wait for that person that you want to share that experience with. But above both of those things, I would highly advise you to not close the door on any potential person. What I mean is this. You mentioned that oftentimes your friends will introduce you to women that you don't find attractive for whatever reason. Clearly you have your own criteria. What I would say is, don't be so hell-bent. Don't be so married to that criteria that you will completely shut out any potential possibility with any other woman. You want to at least keep an open mind for that experience to happen. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to block anybody out. Keep an open mind. Keep the door open, because you'll find, funny thing is, life is funny like this, you'll find that you can find that connection with the person that you want in the most unlikely fucking places. I kid you not. Sometimes it happens sometimes it happens straight out of like a romantic comedy. Sometimes it actually does happen like that. You will be surprised when it does. So what I'm saying is, the most important thing above the other two big advice points I gave you is to keep an open mind, keep the door open, don't shut out any potential possibility, because you never know. But other than that, man, yeah, just go ahead, work on those three things, and I think you should be in fine shape. And dude, don't worry, because when you get older, you'll find the smorgasbord on your table. You'll see it. You'll notice when it starts happening. So that's going to wrap it. That's going to do it for this week's Advice Corner segment. I want to thank you all for joining me again this week. And in the comments below, please share some of your experiences or share fellow advice with the viewer who sent me this message. And for those of you all who need advice, if you have a topic that you want to get my thoughts on, hopefully I can help you out, please send those in emails to otakuassemble@gmail.com. And with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'm signing off, and until next time, peace.